One of the responsibilities that I felt as a leader in the Air Force, and that most good leaders in the Air Force and probably in corporations take on as their responsibility, is for the growth of the people behind them to take over for them when they do leave and they do retire. I was very, very fortunate to be given the opportunity to be a mentor to a lot of great men and women, and I've been able to watch those men and women go on and become colonels and general officers and go into command positions where they then have been able to mentor and to continue that tradition of the Air Force to grow the next set of leaders.
I do not know you, but I am your brother.
You do not know me, but I am your protector.
I will run into a burning building to save your life.
Though I do not know your name, I will take a bullet for you.
Though we've never met,
I believe in duty
and sacrifice of self.
Your family is my family.
Is my family. Your life is my duty.
What's going on, guys? Time for another episode of Behind the Uniforms. Instead of being at the Whiskey Wall today, we are here at the Marriott in Windsor, Connecticut. They were kind enough to donate the use of their space for Operation Innocence. I've got this tremendous guy out here. Why don't you tell everybody who you are?
Well, I don't know if tremendous really defines me. I'm very humbled to be here and to have met you and all the great people that we've got on Operation Innocence on this task force. My name is Brian Searcy. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Main Street Pilot. I'm a retired Air Force Colonel. Got combat experience, command experience, retired in 2010, and have been working since 2010 to solve some of the main problems that I see in our country today to get the divisiveness fixed and, help our republic.
So a little bit of context and background for those of you who have never seen the show before. The way that it works is that we sit down, we usually share a cocktail, a glass of whiskey, and we talk about a good day and about a bad day to show that the men and women behind the uniforms are just that, men and women just like you and I. The Operation Innocence, if you guys want to learn more about the task force, it's www.protectingthekids.com. So in the meantime, where do you want to start? A good day or a bad day when you were serving?
Wow, I've had a lot more good days than bad days.
Good.
In the military, I started out flying for a living, and then I got into the command piece. And in the command piece, I think that was the most rewarding piece. So might actually be that some of the best days actually happened after I retired. One of the responsibilities that I felt as a leader in the Air Force, and that most good leaders in the Air Force and probably in corporations take on as their responsibility, is for the growth of the people behind them to take over for them when they do leave and they do retire. I was very, very fortunate to be given the opportunity to be a mentor to a lot of great men and women. And I've been able to watch those men and women go on and become colonels and general officers and go into command positions where they then have been able to mentor and to continue that tradition of the Air Force to grow the next set of leaders.
That's awesome. How about a bad day?
A bad day probably was, for me, as a commander, when something happened to a family member, especially if that family member of one of the men or women that worked for me and that family member was deployed. Having to really be involved with that. But that was something I was very, very focused on, and everybody that I always knew that was my mentor said that's one of the key things that you have to worry about and take care of is the family members of your men and women.
Sure.
Because if they know that you're that empathetic and you're going to take care of those men and women, then they're going to have the strength and the ability and the mind to go do the mission that we're asking them to do, knowing whether they're either at home or if they're deployed, that there is somebody there to watch after their family.
It sort of brings up the topic of emotional intelligence, right? And I know that's sort of a core element in what your organization does now. So shameless plug, talk a little bit about your organization and what you guys are doing.
So Main Street Pilot, it's mainstreetpilot.com. About 3 years ago, I started writing a book with a Marine veteran. It's called Inspired to Write Your American Opportunity. And we put a bunch of tools together that we thought could solve a lot of the divisiveness in our country. And as we did that, and as we talked to a bunch of educators, to a bunch of business owners, we found out that there's a growing problem within our country. Kids coming out of high school, kids coming out of college, kids newly in jobs in our country don't have the personal skills and the ability to make decisions that traditionally were there 2 or 3 generations ago. So the training of that has skipped a couple of generations, and because of that, these kids don't have that ability.
Sure.
And what the research shows, unless somebody actively goes out and gives them the opportunity to learn it, they will never get those skills. So we have a perpetual problem that we need to fix. Employers are having a very difficult time finding people that have these skills. So they're being challenged with that. Schools are being challenged with it because the kids don't have it, but they don't have the ability to teach it.
Right.
So we've developed unique and original content and the way we deliver the program to allow the individuals to learn how to take ownership of this through a conversation which drives behavior, which then becomes their learned experience when they make decisions and as they develop these skills.
It starts so simple. I can't tell you how many interviews I've gone through with millennials where they come in, I stand up, I introduce myself, I shake their hand, and give me your hand for a second. Ready? This is the
Right.
one of those. No, you touch
or like
webbing.
that, or like
oh
that.
my
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
it's crazy. They don't know
Yep.
how to make eye contact.
Yep.
You know, please, thank you. Some of the basics, some of those very soft skills, but if you look at where our country is today versus in the 50s and 60s, and I know I'm about to sound like a 90-year-old man, but we don't have the family structure and environments that we did 50, 60, 70 years ago. And so a lot of those soft skills aren't being taught in the homes. They're not being taught in the schools. So it's great to see an organization step up to really start filling that gap. Again, what was the website?
It's mainstreetpilot.com.
Awesome. Brother, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Guys, it takes you 2 seconds to hit the share button on this video. We're extraordinarily appreciative. If you want to follow the progress of the task force, www.protectingthekids.com. Thank you all for taking the 2 seconds it's going to take you to hit that damn share button. God bless America.
God bless America. Thanks.